Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount & Blade Bannerlord and I'm going to be showing you the top, well 10 whenever I can, best swords. And so there's three different categories of swords. We have one-handed, two-handed, and bastard swords. Bastard swords being my personal favorite. But we're going to be going through and ranking them. And now these are not custom crafted swords. These are ones that can be found in the game, whether they can be purchased from stores or they can be looted after battles. These are just swords that exist in the game. They're not crafted swords. That being said, you can imitate them if you're into crafting and you want to try making a better one and you've got your crafting maxed out. You can try copying the different parts that make up especially the tier 6 swords, and oftentimes you can come up with an even better weapon. But all that being said, this is again just for swords that exist in the game already, and so this should be pretty universal to everyone's experience, and they will be rated on a number of different factors. So obviously the damage that they do is a huge factor, but so is the speed at which they can be swung or thrust. The length comes into effect, how easily they are to handle comes into effect. So I rank all of these weapons on a composite ranking. It's not single stat. So while one might have higher damage than another one, that doesn't necessarily make it a better weapon, because if you can swing it 30% faster and it only does 10% more damage, then the faster weapon is going to be a better weapon. I hope that makes sense, but let's just dive on in and start off with the most common weapons in the game, one-handed swords. And so at number 10 for one-handed swords, we have the Knightly Arming Sword. This one is quite good. It's one of my favorites in the game, and it is relatively common. So as far as stats for this one goes, we have a weight of 1.4 kilograms, so not very heavy there. It's tier 5 weapon, swing speed of 92, swing damage of 73, thrust speed of 92, thrust damage of 42, length of 105, so decently long, and a handling of 94, so nice high handling. So that's number 10 for one-handed swords, the Knightly Arming Sword. Then for number 9 for one-handed swords, we've got the Decorated Short SPATHA. This one weighs 1.5 kilograms. It is also tier 5. We have a swing speed of 93, swing damage of 75, thrust speed of 90, thrust damage of 49, length of 95, and handling of 93. So again, going to be a real solid option. This one is more common in the Imperial territory, whereas the Knightly Arming Sword is pretty common in the Vlandian territory. This one's pretty common for Imperials because it's a SPATHA. So if you're looking for this one, I recommend shopping around there or defeating Imperial armies. But honestly, pretty solid weapon. I like it. No real complaints. So that's number 9 for one-handed swords. So at number 8, we have the Arming Sword with Circle. This one, the only complaint I have about this one is it's a little short, so we have a length of 84. Outside of that, it's obviously an excellent weapon. We have a weight of 1.4. It is a tier 5 weapon, swing speed of 99, so nice and fast there, which is, you know, part of it being shorter. 71 for the swing damage, 92 for thrust speed, 45 for thrust damage, like I said, length of 84, but a handling of 100. So this one is definitely a very nimble weapon. It's very fast. It still does quite high damage. It's just a little bit shorter. But honestly, the Arming Sword with Circle is a great option overall. As far as where you can find this one, I found it in Vlandia and the Empire mainly. Sometimes you'll find it in like BATTANIan or Crusade territory as well. It really depends on the game, but most commonly I'll find this one in either Vlandia or the Empire. So at number 7 for one-handed swords, we have the Decorated Arming Sword. As far as finding this one, it's oftentimes wielded by noble people that you can marry. So a lot of women in the Empire and people in Vlandia, more so the Empire, but sometimes in Vlandia as well, they'll actually have this equipped on them, so you can get it when you marry a lot of people. So just keep your eyes out for that. As far as stats on this one, we have a handling of 102, so very high, length of 82, so a little bit short, thrust damage of 45, thrust speed of 93, swing damage of 70, swing speed of 101, and a weight of 1.3. So this one again is going to be quite good for handling, very fast, and does very decent damage. So that is the Decorated Arming Sword. Let's move on to the next one. So at number 6, we have the Gold Engraved Arming Sword. This one is just going to be, obviously it's a step up from the last because we're going in that order. For the weight on this one, we have 1.6, so a little bit heavier, 94 for the swing speed, 73 for the swing damage, 90 for the thrust speed, and 48 for the thrust damage, length of 88, and a handling of 98. So again, this one is nice and fast, easy to handle, so it's nimble, and does solid damage across the board. So I like the Gold Engraved Arming Sword. Again, primarily going to be something you're going to find in either the Empire or Vlandia. So at number 5, we have the THAMASKENE Steel SPATHA, and now this one is an excellent weapon if you want to find this one. Again, most common in the Empire, and again, you'll find this quite often equipped on Imperial noblemen and noblewomen. So if you want to get your hands on this one, try to pick a nice rich spouse to marry, and oftentimes they will come equipped with it. Otherwise, loot it in battle. sell or buy it from a shop. But with all that in mind, stat-wise, nice and high here. We've got a handling of 89, so a little bit lower there, but a length of 110, so it is quite long, making it a pretty good cavalry weapon. Thrust damage of 51, thrust speed of 90, swing damage of 75, swing speed of 88, and a weapon tier of 5, plus a weight of 1.5. So all in all, pretty solid weapon. It's quite long, and because of that is a little bit slower and has a little bit worse handling, so on foot it's not quite as good, but on horseback it's excellent. So that is number 5, the THAMASKENE Steel SPATHA. Let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have the Crescent Guarded Arming Sword, another favorite of mine because of course I like arming swords so very, very much. This one most commonly will be found in Vlandian territory. As far as stats on this one, handling of 103, so quite high there, length of 76, so a little bit on the short side, thrust damage of 46, thrust speed of 93, swing damage of 64, swing speed of 103, weapon tier 5, and a weight of 1.4 kilograms. At number 3, we have the THAMASKENE Steel SPATHION. This one has a weight of 1.4, a weapon tier 5, swing speed of 87, swing damage of 75, thrust speed of 92, thrust damage of 50, length of 114, so quite long, and a handling of 87. This one is, again, it's a SPATHION, so most often you'll find it from Imperial troops or within Imperial territory. Again, it's going to be quite good on horseback. Because it's longer, it makes a really great swinging weapon on horseback, but it is a little bit slower and it does have a little bit lower handling, but of course, nice high damage. Then at number 2, we've got a favorite of mine, the HIGHLAND Broadblade. This one can most often be found in BATTANIan territory, but I also find it sometimes in Vlandia or Sturgia. As far as stats on this one, 97 for handling, length of 92, 47 for thrust damage, 94 for thrust speed, 71 for swing damage, 98 for swing speed. It is a tier 5 weapon and weighs 1.3 kilograms. Excellent weapon overall, really stands out amongst BATTANIan weaponry. I quite enjoy it, and it looks pretty cool. The only downside of it is, well, it's not even that short. It's got a length of 92, so it's longer than quite a few on this list already. All in all, excellent weapon, and it takes the number 2 spot for one-handed swords in the game. And finally, at number 1, we have the best one-handed sword in the game, the Decorated Broadsword. And this one is the absolute bee's knees when it comes to one-handed swords in the game. For one thing, it is a weapon tier 6. So if you want a tier 6 one-handed sword, this is one of, if not the only options available. It has a weight of 1.2 kilograms, swing speed of 98, swing damage of 86, thrust speed of 94, thrust damage of 31, length of 96, and a handling of 97. So it handles quite well, it is quite fast, and deals some of the highest damage in the game for one-handed swords. Really no competition, the Decorated Broadsword is the best one-handed sword in the game. So that is all of the one-handed swords that we're going to talk about in the game, the top 10. Let's move on to bastard swords. And so if you are unaware, a bastard sword is also known as a hand and a half sword. It is one that can be used one-handed with a shield or two-handed. So I really like bastard swords. I find them to be some of the best weapons in the game, and these are going to be my top 10. So again, this is a composite ranking. So let's start it off with number 10, the two-handed cleaver. This one for stats has a handling of 74, length of 117, swing damage of 83, swing speed of 67. It is a tier 6 weapon and weighs 2.3 kilograms. This one cannot thrust, it's only a swing weapon, so some people might not like that. I actually really like that because it makes sure that I don't accidentally thrust when I'm trying to swing. It's a great weapon from horseback, as all bastard swords are, but it also works excellent on foot. And like I said, you can use it with a shield, so you can use it one-handed, or you can use it two-handed. And if you use it two-handed, you're going to do slightly more damage and also swing it faster. I really like the two-handed cleaver, and it takes the number 10 spot for bastard sword. Alright, so for number 9 for bastard swords, we have the Broad Cascara. And now for stats on this one, we have a weight of 1.5. It is a tier 6 weapon. Swing speed of 79, swing damage of 79, thrust speed of 90, thrust damage of 36, length of 125, so very long, and a handling of 80, so still decently high given the length and the damage. So again, gonna be the same type of stuff. It's a nice long weapon, great on horseback, can be used with a shield or without. Really solid weapon, I really like it. But it takes the number 9 spot for bastard swords. And number 8, we've got a very cool looking weapon that I like for my Crusade playthroughs, and it is the Ridged Great Saber. This one has a weight of 1.9 kilograms, it's tier 6, swing speed of 81, swing damage of 80, thrust speed of 87, thrust damage of 38, length of 116, so quite long, and a handling of 83, so decently high. You will find it most often in Crusade territory, whether that's buying it from a shop or getting it, looting it from armies that you've defeated. But that is the Ridged Great Saber. At number 7, we have the War Razor, another one that is one of my favorites in the game, and I find myself most often with because it's quite common. As far as stats on the War Razor, we have a weight of 1.5, weapon tier 6, swing speed of 83, swing damage of 79, thrust speed of 90, thrust damage of 39, length of 112, and a handling of 84. This one I find all over the place. I found it in Battanian territory, Vlandian, Imperial, Sturgian, Khuzate, maybe even Azrai. I found this one all over the place. So like I said, it's quite common, and it is an excellent weapon. For number 6, we have the Highland Fine two-handed sword, and you can see it here on my back. This one is a nice unique looking weapon, and it has excellent stats. Weight of 1.6 kilograms, it is a tier 6 weapon, has a swing speed of 87, swing damage of 71, thrust speed of 90, thrust damage of 50, length of 107, and handling of 87. This one is quite good. It's got slightly higher speed for it than a lot of Bastard Swords. The length is 107, so it's a little bit shorter. Handling is 87, so it's a little bit higher than a lot of them. And again, damage is going to be nice and high. So the Highland Fine two-handed sword is a great option for a Bastard Sword in this game. And it's a Highland weapon, so you'll most often find it in the Battanian territory, with close secondaries being Vlandia and Sturgia. At number 5, we have the Fine Steel two-handed sword, which is kind of a fun weapon for a Bastard Sword, and it in a recent playthrough of mine became one of my favorites. So this one is quite short. You can see the length is only 90, and for a Bastard Sword, that's quite short. Handling of 93, though, because of that. It has a weight of 1.5 kilograms. It's a tier 6 weapon. Has a swing speed of 93, swing damage of 72, thrust speed of 91, and thrust damage of 42. I was playing it in a recent Sturgian playthrough, which is the area of the map where you will most often find this sword. But in that playthrough, I really got to love this weapon because it is great. It's an awesome weapon. So yeah, the Fine Steel two-handed sword takes the number 5 spot for Bastard Swords. For number 4, we've got this big, long, curvy boy, the Reaper. And so the stats on this one are a weight of 1.6, weapon tier 6, swing speed of 85, swing damage of 94, length of 111, and a handling of 84. This one cannot be thrusted. This one is awesome on horseback. It works really, really well in that regard. It's super long. It's got a real high swing damage and a decently high swing speed. As far as finding this one goes, I find it most often in Battanian and Azurai territory. So you can find it relatively common in both of those sections of the map. So at number 3, we've got another Battanian weapon, the Early Retirement. And this one is a weight of 1.3, weapon tier 6, swing speed of 86, swing damage of 74, thrust speed of 94, thrust damage of 44, length of 115, and handling of 86. So again, really well balanced weapon. It is pretty fast as far as how fast you can swing or stab with it. Has nice high damage, especially for the swinging. Length of 115, making it quite long, and an excellent horseback weapon. Handling of 86. All in all, like I said, across the board, really solid weapon. Ranks really well amongst all of them. So yeah, the Early Retirement is the 3rd best Bastard Sword in the game, and like I said, most commonly found in Battanian territory. For number 2 on Bastard Swords, we have another Battanian weapon, the Battanian Mountain Blade. This one, I really like the way it looks. It's got a nice thick, chonky style to it. It's also, it is quite long, but not as long as many on this list. So as far as stats, we have a weight of 1.2. It is a tier 6 weapon with a swing speed of 92, swing damage of 75, thrust speed of 94, and thrust damage of 46. A length of 105 puts it in the middle of the length for like Bastard Swords, and a handling of 92 puts it near the top. And like I said, if you want to find this one, you're going to want to look in Battanian territory because that's where it's going to be most common. And at number 1, we have a lot of people's favorite weapon in the game, the Falx. This one is a really, really good weapon, and it explains why the second to last tier of Falxmen are so good, because it's just a dominating weapon. It one-hits most people. It's super good. So as far as stats on this one, we have a weight of 1.5. It is a tier 6 weapon. We have a swing speed of 87 and a swing damage of 91, length of 111, and a handling of 88. So despite the fact that it's quite long, it has a pretty high handling. It can only be swung, so there's no stabbing with the Falx, which again, like I said, some people may not like, but I do like. It's really good on horseback, but it's also really good on foot. So again, because you can use it with a shield or two-handed, it's very versatile. A lot of times I will use it two-handed, but I'll have a shield equipped, and so that way if I start seeing arrows coming at me, I'll quick switch to my shield, but it's really fast to switch back, and you can do a remarkable amount of damage with the Falx when you're using it two-handed. So for all the Bastard Swords in the game, there's a lot of them that I really like. They're some of my favorite weapons overall, but the Falx takes the number 1 spot. I find this list that I've provided here to be pretty accurate, and I hope it was useful to you. But in any case, thanks a ton for watching, and have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.